Welcome to SEQUOIA Radio, a weekly podcast exploring the intersection between creativity and entrepreneurship. We bring on creatives across industries to give you the keys to building a business around your passion and crafting a fulfilling career unique to you so you can live life on your own terms. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 5th episode of SEQUOIA Radio. We're here with Age and Jihad. Thank you guys so much for being here with us
Thank
today.
you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that right. Like some people are like Jihad and Age, and it's like no Age and Jihad.
Okay, great. I didn't even know it was a thing, but I'm glad I got it right off the bat. So you guys are the co-founders of Clyde and Clyde, which is kind of the parent, like the umbrella company where every other endeavor goes into, basically. And that's
Exactly
what we're here to talk to you guys about. You know, what I was impressed by when we first met was the kind of like the hustle, the entrepreneurial spirit that you have, which is essential to making shit happen, basically.
And surviving in New York.
Absolutely, exactly. So there's Clyde and Clyde, and then there's the Good Looks Club, which is an online destination for men's health and wellness, correct?
Yeah, and skincare, beauty, grooming, whatever you want to call it.
Okay, amazing. So why don't you guys tell us a little bit about why Good Looks Club, why Clyde and Clyde? What are you guys trying to change or achieve through these kind of companies or endeavors?
Cool. Which one do you want to do first? Clyde and Clyde or Good Looks?
Clyde and Clyde.
All right.
Yeah.
Clyde and Clyde, the birth of Clyde and Clyde happened when we first met, I want to say April of last year. I think we just like vibed. Literally, we just like got along. We like worked well together. We were out at Paul's Baby Ground, and I was entertaining like a lot of people just because at the time, which Paul's is technically our first client. So we were managing hosts, DJs, and just like VIPs, just people coming out, people buying tables, whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember we were hanging out together, and like he just, without me even asking, just started like doing the exact same thing I was doing. So he's like making sure people are good, like paying attention if somebody has to go to the bathroom, just being like super hospitable. And I was like, wow, like we're working together without us even like talking about it.
And have a similar approach to
Exactly. And it's like purely genuine. It's like there was nothing behind anything that I was doing or what he was doing, and it was just really fun because we both recognized that. And I don't even know like if there was a specific date or time or who coined.
Yeah, we don't remember who said it, but someone was like, you guys are like Clyde and Clyde or something like that.
Yeah. I could definitely see that.
Yeah. Because it's like, I mean, we're two guys.
It's like Bonnie and Clyde, but
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like we're finessing our way in the city, trying to conquer together.
Yeah.
And that's how people see it, just because it's like, how many people do you know get to go out and like have a fun time and go out to like cool dinners and cool lunches and like somehow like not have a regular day job, but also like not do anything like illegal or illicit or something like that.
Yeah.
No, seriously.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's exactly why I wanted you guys on here, is like sharing those keys of how to make something, create something for yourself, right? So you're not stuck in the rat race of, the 9 to 5.
Exactly.
And like, I feel like the longer you stay in that 9 to 5, the more tired you get and the harder it is to like snap out of it and do something different, do something for yourself. And it's actually really tough to do something on your own from scratch. I've done it and I know how tiring it is, and it's a constant, like, you have to constantly motivate yourself to keep going and to keep pushing.
Right.
So how do you guys find that with each other? Because it's beautiful that, as a team, you guys are doing this. So like, maybe when like, you're tired, does he motivate you? Like, how does the teamwork come into play?
I think we definitely complement each other in those times. So like when one is like on the edge of being drowsy, the other one's usually like really amped. So that kind of like balances out that kind of how do you say? But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's in the stars. I'm like being half humorous, but we're both fire signs, and you know fire feeds fire. So it's like he's an Aries, I'm a Sag. But just like honestly, that said, like we both push each other. It's like really weird. It's not even intentional, and it's never like, oh, like you have to do this or we have to do this. It's just like he said, if ever either one of us is tired or like uninspired or nervous or whatever, the other one just has that drive that we're like, all right, we both believe in each other enough that like we kind of really help push each other, which is really cool. And like I don't know anybody else who works like we do.
Yeah. I mean, it's great. It's definitely amazing to be able to lean on someone through the craziness.
But it's like the funny thing is like I don't think either of us would describe it as leaning on each other. It's more so like we both are like an amazing side or addition to each other, that it just like whatever we were originally capable of by ourselves or alone, it's like having that other one next to each other, it's just like
just amplifies
it. So much more.
Right. Definitely. Yeah, I think that's a really important key to share with the viewers. You know, find your tribe, find your team, find people that you really like trust, you know. Because that's the only way of taking it to
the next level.
It's the only way to make something that's bigger than yourself and that, you know, hopefully outlives you. Right. You know?
Because like we literally, no one can do anything alone. Yeah. Like you need people, you need like support no matter what. You need a team. Yeah.
And no matter how, you know, talented you are, there are some things that you don't know. Like, you know, there's so many things that I don't know. There's so, you know, the more you know, the more you realize how little you actually know. So, you know, having more people in your team fills in those gaps.
Right. And it's also nice. It's really nice to have a second opinion. I know for a lot of the things that we still do by ourselves, and it could be something as small as an email, or we design flyers, or we do graphic design for like all sorts of things. But it's like one of us will do it, and then it's like, hey, will you check this out? And it's just nicer not having to show not a stranger, but just like having that consistent second set of eyes, hands, ears, whatever it is, just because like we then end up like producing something amazing. Yeah,
and you know that person's feedback doesn't have, you know, some kind of weird agenda or, you know, like some, you know, especially when you're creating something and you're doing something creative, you are putting a little bit of yourself out there to be critiqued. A lot. And so when you're showing like a draft of something, it's intimate in a way. It's something that's like part of you. It's like, you know, so it's good to, again, put a team together or a partnership where you are showing something that's, you know, you're pretty vulnerable and that person has your back. So it's so important to, you know, have that team, and it takes time to build, you know, something solid. But once you have it, it's priceless.
And I I think we were really fortunate to have found each other. And everything like up until like this right here today, like it almost seems as though like everything's just come to us, which is so crazy. But what the first thing we were doing was Paul's. And then
sorry to interrupt, but for, you know, the purpose of everybody understanding, like Paul's is a nightclub, right?
Yes.
It's like a premium spot in the city for sure.
Yeah. It's hard to get into. You have to like.
Mark Ronson wrote a song, and he mentioned Ludwig in it. Ludwig's the door guy, just for people who don't know. Which is kind of funny. He's like
the Caribbean guy.
No, that's Damien.
That's Damien.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
It's a cool place to go to in New York City if going out like matters to anybody. But first,
it has a really great vibe, like good interior design, good music, good drinks. It's cool. Like it's a nice,
and it's expensive.
Yeah.
But first we were doing Paul's, and by doing Paul's, we were technically we started off as like host-ish, but we were helping book DJs and doing the flyer concept and production, and then booking hosts, and if we had any cool table sales or events, and then that was cool, and it was nice to know that we were just a part of something bigger. But I don't know if this was the first thing. No, actually, the first thing that we did that like was really cool.
Into the Glass?
No, not that. Oh, was it that?
I think it was our first like official Clyde and Clyde or Jihad collaboration.
It was
an interview with Into the Glass about our like top shelfie.
So tell us about that, because I mentioned this like off camera, but what we're really trying to do with this podcast is to share genuine tools with people of like, this is how we started from nothing. Basically, we had just a dream or a passion, and how do you build a business around that passion? So Clyde and Clyde is that business that you're building around your passions and your skills to make it profitable, to make it, you're basically monetizing your passion, right? And that's the only way to survive, especially in New York, but to survive in the capitalist system that we're in, right?
Without going crazy. Without
going insane. So you have to survive somehow, which is like the game. It's the challenge. Like it would be incredible if like we could just be creative all the time and not worry about rent, not worried about everything.
Things didn't cost money.
Right. And it would be, it would be great, but that's just absolutely not
the case
at all. So if you want to stay independent, and if you want to stay, not working for the man or not working for a corporation or a big company, you need to figure out how to finesse, how to do this, create this on your own. So you need to create a business around it. So sharing, long story short, giving people these tools of how to do that. And I think it's both challenging, but it's easier than people think it is once you kind of get going and build momentum and believe in yourself. But, we're trying to make it easier for people to like follow their dreams, basically. So Into the Gloss is like the first kind of official job that you guys got.
No, so it wasn't even a job. Okay. This is kind of funny. We did a party. So actually that's it. This is like, it's funny to think about now because I guess I kind of forgot about this, but two buddies of ours, both really cool DJs, and the two of us, we threw a party at our friend's place called Primo's, which is another cool little club downtown. And one of the guys, like the two DJs were Madison and Charlie. Charlie is friends with a bunch of people from Glossier, Into the Gloss, and I remember he had some of the girls come out. And that's where we first met Eva, I think. Who is this? She's the head of social at Glossier and Into the Gloss. And I remember she's doing like the shtick, like the regular like job thing where she's like, oh, like you guys are so cute. Like I have to send you guys some product. And like I remember we're just sitting there and we're just like,
no, thank you.
Honest, and we're like, we don't want it. We don't want it.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, why not? And like, I'm sitting here like, oh, well, I believe that like what you put on your body is what you put in your body. And I don't we're just like on this whole thing. And she's like, oh my God, you guys are amazing. We need to do a top shelf with you guys. So that was the first big thing. And I guess the top lesson
shelf being?
They just interview like a bunch of funky people. And I mean, by now it's like pretty much anybody, but they interview people on their beauty skincare
regimen, stuff like that.
And they put that into the blog?
Yes.
So Into the Gloss is the blog that was started by Emily Weiss, and then she turned that blog into a business,
Right.
into Glossier
Product. Yep.
Right.
which is product,
Exactly.
and that's how you make money, people.
That's literally how you make
Yeah.
money.
But we did our top shelf, which was really cool. And I don't remember how, what, who, what, whatever, but it just like made it around. And the next thing I know, Natalie reached out to us, who's like a friend of a friend of a friend, and they started this new
Paint company.
paint company called Backdrop. And they're actually people, some of the people involved in Backdrop they did the creative for Into the Gloss and Glossier. But they cast us for their launch campaign, and we just like went on set, and that was our first like quote unquote model job together. But we went on set, and they were like, oh, like, what do you guys want? How do you guys like, what can we do to make this more comfortable? We were like, I don't know, like maybe play, what was the Drake song, the Kiki Challenge? In My Feelings. Yeah, we were just like, oh, well, maybe you guys would just like play these songs, because we had just made a little Kiki Challenge, which was very small world successful. Like it wasn't big, but like amongst our network, it was, everybody's like, oh my God, we love that. We were like going around to clubs, like doing it at night.
Oh, really?
Really funny, in like cute little outfits, and people were like, oh my God, we were like doing it for birthdays and stuff. But we started doing that, and then like they just the life on set just like lit up. And they tell us that the top selling paint color is the one that was in one of our little videos, which is kind of funny.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
That brings me to how we met, basically. So, and I think that's a good story to share with people, because that's the kind of attitude that you need to have. Like
Walking into anywhere.
Yeah, being able to walk in anywhere. You know, you do your job, but you do your job and always do more, and always go with a smile, positive energy, like you mentioned, lighting up the set. You know, so with our company, SEQUOIA Films, is a production company and creative studio. We were producing a bevel campaign, a photo shoot for their packaging, and we had like, I think 8 different guys that came in over 2 days, and you know, all the guys super nice, super chill, good vibes. You know, we were playing good music, we were having a good time. The client was super chill, super nice. We actually ended up partying later at Paul's with the VP of customer success of Bevel, which was such a fun time. But so when we met, you were getting your hair done.
Right.
And
well, we were connected over Instagram.
Yeah, so we had a mutual friend, which is also a major key for people, you know, when everything, especially in the creative field or any job that is worthwhile or coveted in some way, there's a lot of competition and a lot of posers also. So that's why, unfortunately, there's gatekeepers, and there is, you know, you need to know someone to get in the room, basically, because
That's very true,
you're being vetted, basically. Like, I used to be extremely frustrated by that when I was starting out, because I was like, oh, I have all this passion and energy, and why aren't people seeing that I'm so great? And, you know, like, I was pissed. And then, you know, with more, obviously I persevered, and, you know, things are working. Obviously, it's the beginning of everything. But now that I am booking people, now that I'm hiring teams, I understand why that's in place, because you're putting, it's very sensitive. Like, you want to know that this person that's coming on set is like going to represent me well, but also like is going to show up on time, is not going to like show up looking crazier, or like is not going to disappear, or is going to actually do what they are hired to do super well. So anyway, so we had a mutual friend, which was Brat, right?
Yeah.
She is a dancer that I hired for a music video that we did.
Okay. We danced in the 2016 VMAs for Rihanna's like work performance together.
Nice, amazing.
So we always like look out for each other. Like if
Yeah.
she sees something that I could work in, she's like, oh, she's always sending me stuff, and then I'm always doing the same for her.
Yeah, and that's
That's
something,
also a big key.
Absolutely, that's
Maintaining
also a very big
relationships.
key. Maintaining genuine relationships and helping each other out and like building each other up. And then actually, there's you, and then there was another model in the shoot that she referred.
Okay.
So shout out to Brad. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Rihanna.
Yeah, Rihanna's at the source of it all. Yeah, so we met, and then my production coordinator was like, there's a model that's saying that, he wants us to go to an after party. And I was like, okay, well, I'll figure it out when I get there. Like, I'll see what's up, because a lot of people just talk and like just say
Especially
random,
in the world that we live in.
Exactly.
Being in New York, it's like very inedible for that to happen.
Yeah, and so I checked in with you, and you were like, oh, I have a table, like it won't cost anything, like just come, and basically you were super accommodating and you're super genuine, and I could tell that from the start, and I was like, all right, this is a real thing, there's an actual table there, why the hell not, It might be like, and you positioned it in a very smart way, because for me, it was an added thing that I could offer to my client.
Right.
I could say, hey guys, there's this thing that's happening, like it's a wrap party, it won't cost you anything, let's go and check it out. And, it was amazing. It was a great night.
I'm so happy you're fun.
Yeah, it was.
We actually had a blast that night. We hadn't been out in a long time.
Yeah.
Like a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, same. I don't get out as much as I should. But yeah, it was a really fun night, and there were people from Bevel that came and they had a great time, and like, it's important to hang out with people outside of your job too.
Right.
So that's how we met, and then from then on, you've kind of been keeping me posted on like cool things that are happening, cool events, and I pull up, and it's always a good time. So
I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Also, some
That's
cool
very
events that
rewarding.
we produce.
Yeah, for sure.
Which we're curious what you think of the fashion show.
It was a great time. I unfortunately made the stupid decision of taking an Uber instead of taking the train. So I showed up like after the runway, but it was a really great vibe. I saw photos and videos. It looked really amazing. I thought it was very creative to have the runway be the sidewalk, and then like it being curated in that way was really cool.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for us to work together on more stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That was super exciting. So yeah. But that show was actually a passion project for us.
Yeah.
So it wasn't profitable, other than for resume purposes.
yeah.
But
that's what you
yeah,
have to do at
Yeah,
first.
yeah. I think that's a big thing too for anyone who's listening and like pursuing a specific career in entertainment or just creativeness in general, is executing passion projects, because that's like what's gonna build you up to where clients can look at that and be like, okay, you're actually serious.
I mean, it's literally self-investment.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. So self-investment is
Bet
like
on
a huge
yourself.
thing.
Bet on yourself
rather
and
than
invest
someone
in
else.
yourself.
And just make sure, like, if you do have really cool creative ideas, like, utilize them on friends or people that you're actually connected to. Like,
Keep it intimate.
Right. Our girlfriend, whose store we did the fashion show for, like, we were at dinner, 3 weeks before that? And she's asking us the exact same thing that you've asked us at times. She's like, what do you do? And we're like, oh, well, we call it social capital management. And that's our, like, top level description. And then she's like, well, what does that mean? And we're like, well, we do creative and experiential marketing consulting. And she like, also she's a model. She's like, what does that mean? And we're like, well, ultimately, like we concept and find really cool ways for you to market your product, whatever it is. And
Whether it's community building
Right.
or, down to anything really. So
But,
we literally just pitched her an idea. We're like, what if we did a show right out of your storefront on Division Street in Manhattan? And she was like, wait, that could actually be really cool. And we were like, yeah, like let's get the designers, that you have in Trinidad to send their pieces. We'll get 15 models, have them walk on the sidewalk, and have our friends sit in front of the store, have a steel drum man, play live music, and have rum. It like fits this Caribbean vibe. So it's literally like a dinner conversation that turned into like this huge production.
Yeah. And that's really how this stuff happens.
Yeah,
it's like conversations.
Absolutely.
You know, meeting people randomly and having conversations and like just executing your ideas, basically.
Like progressing. I feel like one thing that we talk about frequently, which it's kind of funny because it goes against what a lot of people, like the idea that a lot of people have, or a lot of people say to like, keep your business to yourself, like don't talk about what's going on, because if it doesn't happen you don't want to be embarrassed. But like I've found the opposite. Like if we talk about what we're trying to work on and what we're doing, it gives us more of a reason to make sure we do it. And it also like puts it in front of other people, because like somebody might have the key for you to accomplish that thing.
Right.
So
we're also really high believers in manifestation. It's like what you speak is your truth, you know. It'll come
so true.
Full circle.
And what's really funny is like we went to visit his family in Florida literally the week before the fashion show. And like while we're there, they're like, oh, Hurricane Dorian. And we're like, oh my God, are we even going to be able to get back? And we're like, you know, we're going to be back for it. It's going to happen. This has to happen. And like, it did happen.
Yeah, no, it's true. I think it's something that is not talked about a lot because, I don't know, I think in the West especially, like we value numbers. Everything is very like, without,
logistical.
You know, it's without like, you know, diving off the deep end and going into like a super like philosophical and intellectual conversation that, you know, we'll be here for like 5 hours. But like in our society, we value kind of like, especially in the business place, masculine energy and masculine traits. So it's like very like square and numbers,
like factual,
facts, and no emotions, and so I think, and that's very, and I have a lot of that, and it's helped me a lot. But I think there's also
you're Capricorn.
But there's so much more that like is hard to explain. But if you kind of embrace it, it really works. Like manifestation is so real, energy is so real. You know, if you think of something and if you say it and you write it down and you really believe in it, it is going to happen, because obviously you need to work towards it. But by virtue of you speaking on it and like really believing in it and repeating it, and if you write it down and you say it in the shower and you say it when you get up and you say it at night and like you really, really believe in it, then you're positioning yourself in a place where you're doing
like subconsciously that is your focus.
That's your focus, and therefore your actions follow.
Right.
It's obviously, you know, you need to put in the work. That's like number one. You need to put in the work, you need to meet the right people, but psychologically you need to really believe you can do it.
Right.
You know? You can trick your mind, like, you know, into believing that you're the shit and into believing that you can really do it. Like, I'm
and
sure.
Take on anything, really.
And take on anything, you know? Yeah. And it's something that is a challenge because obviously, like, you know, self-esteem is something that, you know, we all, I'm sure, like,
are dealing
with, and you have to work on it. But I remember when I was starting out, you know, I would get so nervous before a big shoot, and I would be like, oh my God, like, you know, this is so big, like, what have I taken on? And then you just like, you go through it, you do it, you make it happen, and you realize like, holy shit, like I can do it. And then
I'm completely capable of delivering my deliverables.
Exactly. And the more you do it, the less fear becomes a factor.
Right. But also at the same time, there's nothing wrong with that feeling, because that just, I feel like at the end of the day, that just shows that you care about something.
Yeah.
Which, like, honestly, like, as a person hiring someone, it's like, it's nice to know that you care about somebody or care about a project.
Yeah.
But also, like, not to bring it back to our balance, that's funny because we both, like, the point at which we express anxiety or get nervous or get stressed, it's the complete opposite. So it's like at the beginning of a project or like at the ideation of something, one of us will be like, I don't know, like, can we do this? Is this possible? And then like almost like just further down the line, the other one's like, oh God, like now I'm feeling it. And it's so funny because if we both take a step back, we're like, neither of us needs to worry at all because like it's obviously going to happen.
Right.
But
Yeah. It's like, it's almost like just tricking your mind into not worrying about it.
Right. Or like allowing yourself to go through those motions, but to know that like there's nothing behind it.
Yeah.
Which is real, like it's good, you know?
Yeah. Like you feel fear and you acknowledge the fear or the anxiety, but you realize, hey, this is a natural, normal feeling that is like human evolution, and it's like we're human, therefore we feel it. You know, back when, you know, we were like cavemen, basically, like fear was so important because like if you're near a cliff, like you need to be afraid so you don't fucking jump off.
Right.
You know, or like if there's fire, you need to be afraid not to like fucking put your whole hand into it, you know what I mean? But now that we're in like a modern, like civilized society, quote unquote civilized, like there still is like that human like fear that, you know, you can't get rid of, but you need to realize like, hey, okay, it's present, it's here, but it's not gonna define this whole outcome.
Right.
And you can go through it.
Well, especially I feel like in the creative world, it's like what's crazy is so much stuff really just depends on individuals. Like no matter what we make, if it's throwing a party, if it's making a movie, if it's making a song, like there's only so much that you can do yourself. Like a lot of it is in the hands of the consumers. So that said, it's like you have to remember that as long as you do the work that you have to do, which is like be communicative, like be organized, like send the right emails, respond in the right, like in a timely manner, like make sure you do that stuff. Like that's all that you can really do, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. You need to do everything you can, and then once you've done everything you can, you know that it's out of your hands, and just worry about the next thing, you know? What's the next thing? Yeah. That's amazing. I feel like we like covered a bunch of really, you know, crucial and important information for people. I think, you know, connecting with people is huge. You know, when you're in a situation, be as open and as helpful as possible, and you'll be surprised how that takes you to the next thing that then takes you to the next thing. And same things with friends, like, you know, collaborate with friends, work on passion projects, you know, because that's what's gonna get you hired for a big job. You know, there's certain jobs that, like for example, when I launched SEQUOIA Films, we did a fashion film that was basically like just a bunch of friends coming together in a small studio in Williamsburg, and we were like, let's do like the most beautiful thing that we can and make it super creative and have it like resemble our ideal job that we want to get, right? And so once that was made, we are reaching out to potential clients and showing them, hey, we did this. Therefore,
you have something to physically show. Like,
exactly.
'cause that's it. People who want to hire you just want to see that, like, you can actually do something.
They don't want to take a risk, basically, because they themselves.
Which makes sense.
It does. It
makes total sense.
Who am I to demand that somebody takes a risk on me? You know what I mean? Like,
and then also get upset when they don't take the risk. It's like, hey, think if the tables are turned, like you'd be like, who is this random person trying to like get me to give them money to do this thing?
Yeah.
So that's interesting. It's like both being humble and believing in yourself.
Right.
You know? I think that's the balance that everybody needs to find.
We're really, just because I know that you asked about this and we do also have to talk about this, but we're we keep that in mind with our actual like business project that we're doing right now, which is Good Looks. You want to say something about Good Looks?
I'm excited. I'm really excited. I feel like we're taking our time on this project, just because this is a passion project for both of us.
And we
I don't
want it
think
to be
that,
perfect.
Yeah, we want it to be as perfect as possible.
Yeah.
You know, which is why we're taking so long to like really execute what we want this to be and how we want it to live and where we want it to live and who we want it to connect with. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just overall excited about it.
Yeah. It's important to take your time on something, especially if, you know, down the line you guys want to create product. That's a whole thing.
The whole other world.
That, you know, you need to think of like packaging, you need to think of like how to create the products.
Formulas.
The formulas.
What the ingredients
and where
are.
you're going to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's huge.
And we just want way more involvement than like just hiring people to just
Make
do
something
things.
happen.
Like
Yeah.
every aspect of this project, like we want to know about. And we are trying to like literally every day. He's like reading articles about, not articles, but like researching about like good ingredients to put into products. We're looking into like the best place to host our website, like how we want to do that. What's the best way to like to capture content, and like it's a fun and hard process, but we're excited to be working on this.
Oh yeah. I mean, it takes time to build anything worthwhile, and it's good. It's important to do your research and even like market research, see like what is out there, what are people doing, what are people needing, and like build things also organically and not forcing it. But I think to your point, you need to know how to do certain things, so you know how you can see basically if people are doing their job or not.
Right,
you know what I mean? Like, I'm not Savi that's behind the camera, where I can't like, you know, I'm not a director of photography. I know things about lenses and cameras and how much they cost, because as a producer, I need to know, you know, how much I should budget for a certain thing. And like, if the client has this much, then I know we can go with this camera, whatever. But then I can manage the project better because I have this like basic understanding of it. And then obviously you hire people who are the specialists, you know, because again, you can't do it on your own.
Literally.
Yeah.
I think that's the main thing, is like you can't do anything on your own. It's like get people involved, get people you care about involved, who you know care about things too and have goals. Definitely. Building your team with people that you trust. Yeah, for sure. Well, you guys shared so many really important tools with people, and thank you so much for your time and for being here. This was episode number 5, Sequoia Radio. Thank you guys so much. Number 5.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Yeah,
we'll
thank
do this again. We'll do like we'll have you guys back and then update us on like everything.
Yeah, how the process is going, what we're working on, new things, what you're working on.
Yeah, for sure.
Amazing.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Okay, peace.
Bye. Hey everybody, it's Age and Jihad,
AKA Clyde and Clyde,
and you're watching Sequoia Radio.
Powered by Sequoia Films.
You have a voice for radio.
Does that mean I'm ugly?